name is Aneka Bussue. I am in the 10th grade and I attend Tacoma Academy. I am in Mr. Robinson's Biology 6th period class. Today we are going to be exploring osmosis through making naked eggs. Osmosis is a tendency of water to move across a membrane from a dilute solution into a concentrated solution. So in order to do this project, we are going to need ingredients. The ingredients are vinegar, a glass, food coloring, an egg, syrup, corn syrup or maple syrup, and then you're also going to be needing a spoon or a heavy object to keep the egg submerged into the solution. So first you're going to gently put the egg into the glass, because if it breaks then you'll have to get a new egg. Then you are going to have to pour the vinegar all the way up to the top of the glass. So the vinegar is supposed to remove the shell off the egg and expose its membrane. Also, you have to keep the egg fully submerged into the vinegar for 24 hours. As the egg bathes in the vinegar, the shell will slowly dissolve. The bubbles clinging to the egg will cause the egg to flip and turn. After 24 hours, you will need to drain the vinegar and replace it with fresh vinegar to continue the process of dissolving the egg's shell. Then let the egg sit in the vinegar for another 24 hours. After that, the shell will be fully dissolved and the membrane will be fully exposed. After 24 or 48 hours, you are going to drain the vinegar from the cup and take out the egg slowly so that the egg will not break. When you take out the egg, you are then going to rinse the egg. Look, it could even bounce. The next step is to place the egg into a cup or a glass gently. Then after that, you are going to pour corn syrup into the glass until the egg is fully covered. Stop. And we're just going to speak. Then you're going to have to put a spoon or a heavy object on top of the egg to keep the egg fully submerged underneath the syrup. I will leave the egg submerged into the syrup for 24 hours. The spoon is placed on top of the egg so that it can forcibly submerge the egg underneath the syrup so that it can stop the egg from naturally floating to the surface. If the egg was to float to the surface, the exposed membrane may harden, and it will most likely cause this stage of the project to go way slower. The spoon is placed on top of the egg so that it can forcibly submerge the egg underneath the syrup, so that it can stop the egg from naturally floating to the surface. If the egg was to float to the surface, the exposed membrane may harden, and it will most likely cause this stage of the project to go way slower. Once the stage is complete, you have to pour out the syrup out the cup and gently catch the egg in your hand. Then you are going to rinse it. Step is to fill a glass with water. Then you are going to pour food coloring into the water and stir. And keep on stirring until the color is. Lastly, you are going to put the shriveled egg into the colored water and leave it in for 24 hours. As you can see, the egg has expanded in its size, just like how it did the first time when we put the egg into vinegar. On day 3, when I place the shriveled egg into the colored water, there's lots of water molecules but nothing else outside the egg. Inside the egg, there is almost no water molecules and very few proteins, electrolytes, and sugar molecules. So once again, the water moves through the membrane into the egg, making the proportions of water to other molecules equal, which in this case causes the egg to swell. The process of water moving back and forth through a membrane to create our different stages of my eggs is osmosis. This is day 2 when I put the egg into the corn syrup. On day 2, the exact opposite of day 1 happens. At first, water travels from the membrane into the corn syrup because there is an imbalance of molecules, and all molecules want to be equal in proportions on either side of the membrane, but only water is allowed or is capable to move through the membrane. So instead, the water moves from where there is a low amount of molecules to where there is a lot of molecules. This causes the egg to shrivel and shrink. This basically means that the water leaves the eggs and goes into the syrup. So on day 1, when we place the egg in the vinegar, the molecules in the glass causes a chemical reaction that produces carbon dioxide, gas, water, and calcium activate. Once the shell is removed and the membrane is fully exposed, the water molecules from the vinegar begin to travel through the membrane of the egg and begins to fill it with water. Also, the egg's membrane is semi-permeable, so it will only let a certain molecules pass through it. And in this case, it's letting water molecules pass through it, which will cause the egg to expand. Now I'm going to explain and summarize my osmosis project. The difference between diffusion and osmosis is that diffusion deals with the movement of molecules from an area of high solute concentration to an area of low solute concentration, while osmosis is the movement of molecules in a similar fashion across a semi-permeable membrane. So,